Welcome back to Fox Sports News. It's time for us to take you to St Kilda's headquarters, where they're set to name Scott Watters as their new coach for 2012. Let's go there now.
Actually adjudicated, if you like, by Claire Prideaux, who I think you probably all know, but is an Olympic background, Chris Pelchin, Michael Nettlefold and Nathan Burke. And they've also been ably supported by Andrew Thompson, Brad Johnson and Ian McLeod. And there's been some criticism, the process has been lengthy, but if you can get somebody of this quality anywhere in 4 weeks, I think you've done a brilliant job. And I commend those people for the work that they've done in this appointment. We're very pleased to have Scott on board. It's exciting for all at the club, and supporters, members, I'm sure, are looking forward to a very successful 2012. And congratulations, Scott.
Thanks, mate.
The obvious question, how excited are you to be taking the senior role?
Look, it is exciting. It's a group that I've admired from an opposition competitive point of view for the last 2 or 3 years, their spirit. So now to actually be a part of that and have the opportunity to work with that type of group, look, it's fantastic, and I can't wait to get into it.
Can you just talk us through the mechanics of it? When did you first find out that you had the job in the bag?
Look, late yesterday afternoon, without going into all the details, but basically over a coffee with Michael and Chris Pelchin. It was after a lengthy process, which I know has been already discussed, but a process that I thought was really thorough, really professional, and actually gives me a great deal of confidence to move forward from that process. So late yesterday afternoon, and it's, as you could imagine, it's been a pretty busy last 12, 24 hours.
What do you see as your trademark then coming into the job?
Look, I'd like to think that I want to be part of a team here. So making sure we can build a really positive environment. We've got some great assistant coaches that are already there, making sure that we're a really empowered group. We've got opportunities within our development area to really improve in that area. We've got a strong leadership group. So it's probably bringing all those factors together and making sure that we move forward, not just as a footy team, but as a club next year. So it's a really, I think with any change there's great opportunity, and just excited about that opportunity, and everyone can embrace that.
When you see where the group's at, Scott, you said it's a group that can still contend, is it a group that needs a little bit of a rebuild? Where do you see where the list is at?
I think where football is right now, you have to be able to, certainly you want to contend, but at the same time you need to rebuild. It's a constant process, and one doesn't mutually exclude the other. We've got some really talented kids on our list that will need to earn the opportunity to play, but the opportunity is going to be there. Sipos, Cripps, Ledger, these are some kids that are really exciting. But we've also got a really strong group of core leaders who are outstanding players, lead the club particularly well. So we'll blend both of those together. Not going to make predictions on where and when and how, but our expectations are both on and off the field that we'll set really high benchmarks, and we'll aim to achieve that.
You said development, I think, is an area that the club could improve, and that's where you'll focus sort of get more young players to the side.
I think it's an opportunity across the board in AFL. I mean, everyone's looking for a competitive advantage. So, look, we'd be crazy if we don't really explore every opportunity within our development area to maximise our list and maximise our playing group. So that's not just young players. I think development is across a whole list. We want to maximise the environment for them. We want to make sure that they have the best opportunity to play their best footy. So it is something that we'll really be tipping some time into and making sure we've got a great program.
You've been a fan of Saints footy, obviously. Is it just a tinkering job, or you need to overhaul slightly, maybe a more attacking philosophy?
But there are so many elements of what St Kilda have been about in the last 2 or 3 years that I am an admirer of. The defensive DNA of this footy club, I think from a competition level, has been admired. The game changes and moves so quickly now that even in a 3 to 6 month period, a game plan evolves and changes. We want to be at the forefront of that. I won't go into specifics, but there are some opportunities for us as a group to work on over the pre-season, and we'll continue to evolve, not just in the next 3 to 6 months, but over the next 2 to 3 years. You've got to stay ahead of the game. We'll take some of what's been great, and with input from a number of parties, we'll add some different layers to it as well.
St Kilda have been so close over the last few years. Do you think the premiership window is still open with this group?
Look, I'm probably one that focuses more going forward rather than, I guess, reflect on how close the club has been. What I know is already from conversations with players that you can see in a person's eye where the drive is and where the commitment is and where the motivation is. I think this group are maybe ready for a change, not being disrespectful to what's gone on before, but change does open up chances and opportunity for different players. So, you know, we've got work to do, we know that, but we also think that we've got a group that's ready to accept some of those challenges, so it's an exciting time.
It's been a tumultuous time for the club. Think about the club culture at the moment. Do you need to work on it?
I think you're always working on club culture, not just our club, but I think any club. That's an ongoing education and an ongoing experience, I guess. So, you know, we've had some challenging times over the last 2 or 3 years. We've had some great times as well, been really competitive, but you put all those experiences together and that brings you to the point where we're at right now. Now this is, I guess, with the new coach, there is a line in the sand. We have an opportunity to be incredibly professional on the field and incredibly professional off the field, and we'll tackle both those challenges head on.
Have you spoken to Robert Harvey in this place for him at the club going forward?
There's always a place for Robert Harvey at this football club. You know, I had the privilege of playing against Robert many years ago and have an enormous amount of respect for him and what he brings with his pedigree and with his character. Really look forward to sitting down with Robert and discussing the opportunities that we want to put in front of him. But he's a very esteemed member of this football club, always will be, and I look forward to having that chat with him.
Well, after a month-long search, St Kilda has named Scott Waters as its new coach. Waters joins the Saints after 2 years as an assistant to Mick Malthouse at Collingwood and says after a year of turmoil, the club has now drawn a line in the sand.
He may be short in stature, but Scott Waters has a big reputation. The AFL's newest coach ready for his toughest test.
It is exciting. It's a group that I've admired from an opposition competitive point of view for the last 2 or 3 years.
Waters played 109 games for West Coast Sydney and Fremantle before entering the coaching ranks. He is now one of 5 senior coaches who did their apprenticeship under Mick Malthouse.
He's been a great mentor for me. I'll continue to have that relationship with him because he's just such an outstanding individual.
After a tumultuous 12 months culminating with former coach Ross Lyon's shock departure, the Saints are ready for a new beginning.
I think this group are maybe ready for a change, not being disrespectful to what's gone on before, but change does open up chances and opportunity.
Skipper Nick Revolt agrees.
Now that we do have a senior coach and the direction is clear, I think everyone is pretty quickly shifted into a phase of excitement.
Despite a disappointing end to the season, Revolt is comparing St Kilda to Geelong at the end of last year and says they are definitely still a premiership contender.
I don't really subscribe to our premiership opportunity being closed. I think we're going to be right up there challenging again.
Dean Laidley is expected to join the coaching panel, with Waters saying he would also like to keep legend Robert Harvey at the club. Michael Felgate, 7 News.